Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chakras and Cusswords podcast. And today we have a new guest. We have Miss Becca Forrest, and she is talking about stepping into your desire, and what you desire is what you deserve. And she is a certified relationship coach. And she's here to talk about, how the hell do I get what I desire, honey? Let me know. Becca, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Becca Forrest, and I have struggled with this for so long into stepping into my truth and really believing that what I desire is what I deserve. And so that has led me to this work I do now. I work with individuals and groups in really tuning into themselves and getting really real, essentially, with what they want and how to navigate that. So that's really my jam.
Yeah, that's awesome, because this season is basically directed around mindset and manifestation. And I think some of us, definitely our biggest problem is like, what do I want, or what do I deserve, or what do I need? Like, how do I even go about this pathway of abundance, and how do I go about building this pathway of desire? So tell me a little bit about you. How did you get started in this? Like you said, you were having a hard time establishing it for your own self. So how did this all come about?
Yeah, so it was about a couple of years ago. I was working as a preschool teacher, and I just knew it wasn't my calling. It wasn't what I wanted. And I was getting out of a really rough breakup, dating someone new, and I was listening to a podcast, and this person was advertising a program about doing the inner work on yourself. And I was like, you know what? This is time for me to say yes, damn it. Like, I need to say yes to
Say
myself
yes.
now.
Yes, girl. Yes. Say
Yeah.
yes. Hell yes. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
I love
totally.
that.
And
So,
go ahead.
so, so a podcast.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. It was
Love
essentially
that.
a
Love
podcast.
that. I love that. Podcast kind of showed you that there was more out there than what you were kind of dealing with right at this moment. So
Yeah.
the podcast kind of showed you that maybe you weren't in the right direction of what you actually desired.
Yes.
That's pretty crazy. Wow.
But
Okay.
it was a combination of that and dating someone new who I was kind of awestruck by him because he was living out his dream. And I was
Mm,
like, oh, wow, like that's what that looks like for him. And I think that's incredible. And so why aren't I chasing my dreams? Why aren't I going after
mm.
what I want? And so it led me to this path of like, I went on a solo road trip for the first time.
What?
Yeah.
How? Okay. So you were and when you went on the solo road trip, was it kind of because you were seeking clarity and seeking guidance of being with yourself and finding your desire?
Yeah, it was partly that and partly because he was someone that always went on these road trips. He had to for work. And I was like, I've always wanted to do that, but I've always given myself excuses. I was like, oh, I don't have a good
Mm,
enough car that I trust, or I don't have the money or the resources. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm
hmm.
going to make sure
Yeah.
that I can do everything I can for my car to be great. And I'm going to go and I'm going to really try this out. And so that
Yeah.
was like my first step of seeing, can I trust myself when no one's
Mm, okay. So you
around?
went on this solo road trip, and this was basically, what was this trip for? It was to just have it where you were doing something, and then kind of get into the self-awareness mode of what really you want.
Yeah, it was really just something, it was like a truth that was deep inside me of something like that I've always wanted to do, but I was too fearful of.
Uh-huh.
And I was reading the "You Are a Badass" by Jen Sincero, and I that was my Bible for the 6 days of the road trip. And yeah, it was just an experience that I knew I wanted to have, and so I just went for it.
Okay, cool. That's amazing. Like, I feel like women, in general, like probably for men, it'd, be easy. And then if, you got to work and you're traveling alone for work, that's kind of different. But I mean, some of us are like, I don't even want to go to a restaurant by myself, or I don't really want to be in that area where it's just me alone with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so it's just me with me.
Yeah.
So I gotta talk to myself. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I will say that was hard. I mean, the first 3 days it was raining. I was in this like middle of nowhere ghost town in Nevada and camping. And
Oh,
yeah, and Jen in that book, she helped me. I was like, all right, you know what? Next day I'm going to go on a hike. It's going to be sunny and I'm going to meet new people. And so I finally traveled to my destination in Torrey, Utah, and I went on a hike. It was sunny, and I met a group of girls, and I ended up spending the rest of the trip with them.
so
So
you just met these girls and you were like, "Hey,
yeah.
we best friends now?"
Well, so it's funny you say that
Girl.
because I am a natural. Well, I used to be very, very introverted, especially during that
Okay.
time. And I was reading a chapter in that book, and it was like, just do it. Just go out and do it. You can be scared and do it anyways. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to finish my hot chocolate. I'm going to pack up and I'm going to walk myself over there. They're having a bonfire and I'm going to see if I can join them. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, hey, can I join you? I said it so
You're
timidly.
like, "Hi. I'm your new best friend. You didn't know you needed, but you need me."
Yeah. And so they're like, yeah, sure. So I pulled up my camping chair and they were great. They were a group of travel nurses just taking some time off. And
Oh,
yeah.
they were travel nurses?
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder. Okay. So it's nice. So this is crazy how you were just kind of set in all these directions. First, the podcast, then
Mhm.
you go on this trip by yourself and meet a bunch of travel nurses, aka probably gypsies, but I can say that. Oh, I know travel
Oh,
nurses.
gotcha.
Yeah, so I know travel nurses. No, but you definitely meet a bunch of nurses that probably are on their own kind of spiritual journey as well. Travel nursing is something that's really cool. I personally, I'm a creature of habit.
Mhm.
I couldn't see myself being a travel nurse, but to be a travel nurse takes a lot of guts and will. You're always at a new location, a new hospital. Every day's kind of like day one,
Totally. Yeah.
So that's a cool group of nurses to get connected with. So when you started this and kind of went on this pathway and you said that you always felt like you were in the education route, you were in the preschool teaching and that wasn't your true calling.
Yeah.
Okay. And then did you already know that when you went on this trip that you were unhappy or once you
Oh,
were on
yeah.
this? Okay.
No, I was fully aware.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, this is one action that I can take now where it's me choosing myself for the first time. And
Mm.
and I
Yeah.
felt that really deeply because the person I dated that inspired me to go on this trip, we had to end things because it just wasn't working with our schedules. He was constantly traveling and I really felt like dating him was the catalyst towards me loving myself and choosing myself, which is really awesome. So,
That's amazing. So he gave you an amazing gift of finding yourself and what you really need, even though he wasn't the right one for you.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, maybe some twin flaming over there. That's amazing. So when when you centered on that path and you're like, I'm not happy, he's kind of
Mhm.
not the right dude for me, but he showed me that, I'm not happy and I need to put myself in a different mindset where I'm the top priority.
Right.
And you're now going to address what you desire.
Yeah.
Know what you desired right away because that's
I
That's
didn't.
that's a hard one. That is
Yeah,
really hard.
I didn't know. And for the longest time, I was just bouncing from job to job. And I was always
Mm,
envious of the people that knew what they wanted to do and were passionate about their life's work. And I was like, oh, I want that so bad. And
mm,
yeah, I listened to that podcast and then stopped dating that guy, went on the solo trip, met those girls, and I told those girls about this program that I was thinking of entering, about doing all the self work
mm-hmm,
on myself and also being in a community with people doing the same thing. And they were like, oh, that sounds so cool. And it was a prerequisite to become certified relationship coach. And they were like, oh, that's awesome. And so for the first time, I saw a group of strangers seeing me and actually loving who I am and like cheering
mm-hmm,
me on. And so that was like the pivotal moment of being like,
mm-hmm,
all right, I can do this. I want to try this out.
mm-hmm. And I like that you addressed that because there's something I want to touch on that you said that these were strangers who were giving you like good job. They were giving you praise. They were saying awesome. And what some of us don't realize is because I will be the first one to admit like for all my pathways, all my journeys, I'm an emergency room nurse. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I have all these journeys. I have all these pathways that I'm doing. Um, I also have the podcast. I have the tarot readings. I have the chakra education. I have the life coaching. I have it all. But what it centers back to is me. While I might not be able to expect others to see it, as long as I see it, that is the most valuable. And I think a lot of times people get caught up in how the people around us, like our inner circle, our family, our friends, our kids, our neighbors, our coworkers, they see us. And it doesn't matter how any of them see us as long as we see ourselves. And strangers who don't know you, they don't know your jobs before, they don't know what you've done, they don't know who
Mhm.
you are, they don't know that your bathroom's a mess, they don't know that you always when you're angry bleach the shit out of your kitchen, they don't know all your traits,
Hmm.
but they see a glimpse of you and they see something that they enjoy and something that they like, and then they're able to give you more praise sometimes than your own circle can. And when this happens, it's almost like a sign. I personally
Yeah,
think it's a sign from the universe saying, this, you're on the right direction, you're on the right path.
totally.
Because while these others don't see it, somebody else does. So
Hmm.
I like that you shared that. That's great. So what happened? So did you just kind of come home from this trip and you're like, oh shit, now what?
Yeah, I was kind of on a high. I was like, oh, that was such a
Okay.
crazy, incredible trip. And here I
Uh-huh.
am going back to work. And so the high probably lasted like, I don't know, 3 days. And then I was like, oh, here I am. But then I was like, okay, if I really want to do this program, I'm going to sign up and apply. You have to get interviewed. Um, so I did that the next like month and a half. And then in August, I think, of 2019, I started the program. So I did that in correlation with staying at my current job. And the reason I stayed actually is because I had applied to 9 jobs when I was in this state. I was like, I want to get out. And I heard from no one. I was like, wow, okay. Clearly the universe
Wow.
has something else planned. I don't know what it is. And yeah,
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. So now you're kind of at this part where you're like, what? Okay. Well, what do I do? What's going on? I did the program. So then once you jumped in the program, is
hmm,
that when you kind of started to feel like what your desire was? Because I'll be honest, I feel that none of us really have a yes, we all have our true passions. Do you know what I mean? Like we have passions, we have desires, we have cravings, we have intentions, we have whatever we're seeking. Um, I think they're all work related, not 100%, because I have seen I have
Mhm.
seen nurses who, have been in the nursing realm, or they've been, in this profession, and this was their calling. When you're in nursing school, you think, this is my healing, this is my practice, this is what I want to do. And they get into the profession and then they absolutely hate it and they realize it's not my calling. I fucked up. I don't even like this shit. What am I doing? And then fuck, I'm working hard. And then you get people, a different, maybe an artist who maybe is doing their passion and they love what they're doing, and it's great, but then they're also having areas where their passion is not serving them, and it's tapping into their other desires of maybe making money. Maybe they're struggling, it's really struggling to sell, to get by.
Mhm.
So how do one find a desire and fulfillment that they can live with?
Like
It,
live off of, is that what you're saying?
right, like live with, live off of,
Yeah.
because like for me, I mean, yeah, podcasting is great. Would I want to be a podcaster 24/7, have my own radio show? I don't know, maybe. But does it pay the bills? Not that much.
No,
You know what I mean?
right.
Do I want to devote 20 hours a day on not that much. It would get I would think it I would get burnt out of just my passion. So like with me, like growing up, I love to cook, and my dad used to always tease me and say, "You're a good cook. You should have a restaurant. You should open up a
Mhm.
restaurant. That should be what you should do." He saw me as being somebody who would cook or have a restaurant, and he would tease me about that. But
Mhm.
I never wanted to do that because that was my passion, and I was scared if I became a cook, I would hate it. So
Right.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's valid.
If I'm fucking cooking all day and everybody's like, "Hey, you put cheese on this and I told you not to put cheese on it," maybe I would
Yeah.
start to hate cooking, or I would get home and I wouldn't want to cook, or I would the last thing I ever want to do is look at a skillet again. I don't know. Do you know
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
so
I hear you.
how do we find this common ground where we can have our desires, we can have our passions, and we can live off of it and we can live with it? I guess is what I'm asking. Like, how did you get to that place?
That's a really good question. And I think that's probably unique to everyone. For me personally, I got support from essentially my parents because off of a teacher salary, I couldn't pay for the full tuition of these programs that I was in. And so
Mm,
I was able to get some support, thankfully, from them. Um, so it just is a matter of if you truly want it, you have to kind of get creative and think of, okay, where can I reach and seek opportunities? And it does take humility. It can. And so
mhm,
it's just a matter of, okay, let's take my ego aside. This is my true desire. Um, what do I need to get there? And if you don't know, try and find people that have that same desire that you're wanting, and see if you can just talk to them and connect with them and see what they've learned and what they have gotten out of their experience.
yeah, definitely. So then, what was your so getting on this path and then finding? Did you automatically find like a relationship, and was that automatically like, this is what I desire, or was it much more than just business? It was probably like personal as well. What
Totally.
desires personally?
My desires personally, when I first got into the program, my intention was just to do the work on myself, but the grander purpose for me was to be in a community where people can like take off their masks and get real and vulnerable. And I The only label I have felt comfortable with has been an old soul. I feel like I'm 85 years old in a 27-year-old body.
Girl,
And,
don't even get me started on the old soul stuff. Shit. Right? I'm like, honey, half the I don't think I got the energy for all this shit because I'm still tired from the first life I was living.
right? But yeah, so I knew from a young age, I just really looked at the world at a grander scale, and I really wanted to connect with people on a deeper level, but I was too shy and I didn't know how to do it. And I grew up as an only child, and so it really came from that hunger to deeply connect with someone else. Um,
Mm.
yeah, so that was my why, and it still is. It's still like literally the greatest pleasure and honor to be in the presence of someone who wants to take off the masks and live life differently.
Yeah, definitely. I like how you said taking off the mask because so many of us live in this mask of what we think others or what we think we should view happiness as. Like I've as a part of me really has this centered because right now with how everything's going with the pandemic with 2020, 2021, probably
Mhm.
2022, like like
Yep.
everybody's just trying to find their self. And I think with 2020 it was this huge, like almost like wake up call, like not even
Yeah.
necessarily like, but just kind of like this wake up call of, everything can be gone tomorrow. I mean, people who work in the medical field, I feel like already know that, but people who just everyday life, like the reality of life can be very long and life can be very short. How
Mhm.
do you live it?
Yep.
And what in the long run makes you happy with your everyday life? Like there's been talk about so many nurses and critical care nurses leaving bedside, which in actuality, I just think a lot of them are burnt out,
Totally.
extremely burnt out. Um, but then I talk to other people and I'm like, have you thought about leaving? I'm like, I'm like, hey, you're by the computer. I'm hey, I know what's going around. You thinking about leaving? I'm thinking about leaving. You thinking about leaving? You know what I mean? Like,
Who's got to do it
let's talk
first?
about this. Right. Let's talk about this. Who you leave, I leave. Like, what's going on? And but then you see some of the nurses who have left
Hmm.
and they're like, but I'm still not happy.
Yeah.
I'm still not happy. There's something else. While I gave up this, which I felt like at the time was
Hmm.
affecting me,
Yep.
I got all this, which
Right.
now I'm working more, or I got a manager who's up my ass, or I got all these other issues that I didn't have before.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's always like this win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. Like you can't have it all.
Yeah.
You got
It's
to have
like
this balance.
how do you water
Right.
the grass that's on the side that you're on versus
Right.
looking at the.
Exactly. And I love that you said that because that is an amazing. How do you water, fertilize, grow? How do you take care of the grass you're out? Because some of us can't change our lifestyle. Like some of us can't change our profession. Some of us can't
Right.
change, the fact that we got, three badass kids. Maybe
Totally.
now you wish you didn't have three badass kids. We're traveling the world, but girl, you got them three badass kids. You got to take care
Yeah.
of them. So, like, how do we take care of ourselves and find what makes us happy when we can't change our surrounding areas?
Yeah. I love that question. And I think for me, something that I got challenged by that guy that I dated before I went on that trip was he said, "What made you smile today?" I was like, "Oh shit."
Oh, wow.
Like,
Wow.
yeah, just something that simple. And it challenged me to like, all right, like what things what little things can I do that bring me happiness, you know?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I feel like that's what I'm really trying to be centered on more, is like the little things and not automatically tune into the big things or tune into the big things are great. I love them. Like I
Yeah.
love them.
Yeah.
But um the little things, like today I just before we hopped on, I just did an interview for a TV show, and I'm watching it, and of course, automatically as I'm watching, I'm thinking all these negative thoughts. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
Lord, I look tired. Ooh, girl, your curls didn't stay in your hair. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and we're so critical of ourselves, and we're so
Mhm.
critical of everything. Like, I knew I should have got that good hairspray, but like we're so
Yeah.
we're so, critical of everything that we do. Like we are our own biggest critic,
Mhm.
but instead of looking at that, I'm ignoring the fact that I even was asked to be on a TV show, number one. And second, I had everything that I wanted to address was addressed.
Mhm.
Everything else, didn't matter that my curls fell out of my hair.
Yeah.
That I still have in my eyes because I worked last night. You know what I mean? Like, so everything that I felt I needed to accomplish, I accomplished. So you have to look at the big things. And then also when I came home, I saw a hawk in my tree,
Mm.
looking right at me as I pulled
Oh,
up on
wow.
the street. So that was another sign that I've completed my mission. And it
Totally.
was sitting, and it greeted me, and I got it on film, and I'm going to make a vlog about it. And it's like the universe is always talking to us. It's always giving us these tools to
100.
see what we want, to see what we really need, to see what our desires are. We just have to really see it, listen to it, and feel it, and then we can move forward. So I definitely, yeah, because the little things, like what makes you smile today, is a
Mhm.
huge thing. I mean, yeah,
It's
there's so
huge.
many. It's huge. There's so many little things that make us smile, and we really need to like pay attention to those little things.
Yeah, and
So
savor it, you know?
yeah, they are sacred. They're very sacred. So, how did you start? Did you start doing more like gratification work, more gratitude work, or getting more tuned into just everyday little practices? Or
I think I just was more aware of myself and how I was living day to day. And it was a hard look in the mirror of like, oh, okay,
mm,
that I'm not living the way I want to. And um, being in that community in that program really opened my eyes of like how much just human connection lights up my soul. And
mm-hmm,
so that's what I chose to do more of. And it's funny you mention the little things because my friend is actually a nurse and she is so drained and exhausted from it. And she inspires
mm-hmm,
me like every day to look up at the trees and be grateful and like just notice
mm-hmm,
the wind blowing in the leaves and like just noticing the beauty around you is so huge.
mm-hmm. I got to get your friend's information because my next season is going to be on burnout and trauma and
Oh my God.
PTSD. So
Yes,
you got to share that
I
info with me, girl,
definitely will. She would love to connect with you.
because it's going to be a very I have a feeling there's going to be tons of nurses. Well, just because I'm a nurse, all my friends are nurses, you know what I mean? Like a
Yeah,
lot of nurses listen to the podcast.
yeah.
So I feel like it is going to be very much centered, especially with healers
Mm,
and coaches and people who are in that area of helping
yep.
and giving back. It's very emotionally drained because we spend most of our day fixing others, helping others, and doing stuff for others. And
Hmm.
then we never really do it for ourselves. And that's a huge disconnect that many of us have. How to bring it back to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Uh,
she does a lot of that stuff too. So,
Great. That's awesome. Yeah, definitely shoot me her info. So where do you see with people stepping into their path? Because you went on your journey by joining and a community that helped you and getting certifications and really addressing what you wanted, like personally
mhm.
and professionally. But where do you see most people? Where is their almost like disconnect or from self and their desires?
Oh gosh. I think I mean, I'm a relationship coach, so I do see it in their relationships, but
Oh, and relationships are huge.
yeah, huge. But honestly, it just boils down to their relationship with themselves and looking at what agreements they break with themselves, with their partners,
Mm-hmm.
and getting really honest with themselves. And I think it comes from maybe like a dual impact from how they were raised from their parents and society as a whole of like, oh, you should do this, you should do that, to where you don't know what you want anymore because you have all these fears and shoulda, woulda, coulda. I call it shouldville. And
Shouldville.
your truth of
The
home does
Shouldville.
not live in shouldville.
That's amazing. It is the shouldville. Like
Yeah.
everybody has like you shoulda, you coulda, you shoulda did this, you shoulda, what didn't, that's why it's like, okay, well, this worked for you and this worked for me and this worked for you and this worked for me, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be the same.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what may have worked for you probably wouldn't have worked for me.
Hmm.
Like, and I could see how a relationships and telling like your desires is hard because um some of us are complete opposite, even though we're in a relationship together or a relationship with a child and a mother or a father, vice versa, or whatever, or siblings or coworkers or whoever is in a relationship. But until you in your mind know what you want, nobody else is going to know about it. And when you think of relationships, do you feel that it's beneficial? I'm asking this question for personal reasons. Um,
Go for it, girl.
when you are in a relationship, do you think it's best to tell people what you desire or what you plan on doing, or just doing it? Ooh.
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay. So I first like to look at who I'm potentially wanting to tell this to. Okay. If
Mhm.
it's a friend who is really like, has way different interests than me and just operates like through the world differently than me, they're probably not going to receive my desire well because that's just not how they go through the world. Like if I'm a dreamer and they're a realist, it's kind of going to clash. And so, but if you're with someone who's open-minded and is supportive and they are going to be your cheerleader, yeah, absolutely. Go for it. Tell them what you
Mm,
want. Yeah.
right, right. I like that you said that because I'm going to tell you what. So, a lot of times I'm just a doer. I don't
Yeah.
know. I just have that mindset like, "Well, I don't want to hear anybody else's opinions because I think they might distract me or I think they might try
Yeah.
to put me off my game or put me off my path
Mhm.
or put me off my thing." So, a lot of times I just do shit.
Yeah.
And a lot of times like today my son's like, "What are you doing? Where are you going?" I'm like, I got interviewed with TV station." He's like, "What the hell is going on around here?" He's
And I
like,
love that. It's like
I
world
got stuff
wants
to
me.
do, honey. Make sure the dogs got, go outside, go to the bathroom. Like mama's got stuff to do." But
Yeah.
and but see, sometimes it can affect a relationship because then people are like, "Well, why didn't you tell me? How come
Totally.
you didn't tell me you were doing this? How come you didn't tell me you were doing that?"
Yeah.
Or now I feel left out because you should have told me. But then also, I think like what you were saying, that it's right, how the other person perceives your path is a huge circumstance, right? Because, for instance, if somebody is on a mission to do something, like let's say you are thinking about starting your own business, for instance, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe your partner's not really feeling it, although it's a huge thing,
Right.
huge thing, and it will affect the relationship, but it's something that you want to do,
Yeah.
but there's going to be conflict. Is
Mm-hmm.
it better just to sit in that area of not doing it? Or is it better to just do it and then see what happens?
I mean, ugh, this reminds me of a podcast all about human design.
Right. Yeah.
And the woman on the podcast is like, my husband is a manifesting generator and he just has to try it. And he doesn't know if he's going to like it until he tries it. And like, that's a lot of risk involved. Um,
So
but
I don't understand. I'll be honest. I don't understand human design at all.
it's okay.
Okay. I do other modal. I do the chakra system. I think they're kind of similar, but different. I'm big on astrology. Human design, I looked it up, and everybody's like, manifestor generators are like the best things ever. They manifest
Oh my
everything.
gosh.
And I'm like, whoa, what do these people sound? Okay. So
No.
I just remember I looked it up, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I should be a manifest. This is before I even knew what it was about, girl. I just looked it up. I'm like, I think I should be a manifested generator. I put it, I put, I put it on my little codes, whatever it is they ask. They're like generator. I'm like, I didn't get the manifestor part. No, girl, you got the generator. I'm like, good
But you
Lord, I
are a
feel like a
doer.
transformer. Like, what's a generator? So somebody help me out here.
You definitely are a doer. Yeah.
Okay. So that's doer. They just
It's a
do
doer,
stuff.
but it's like it, the what is it? The how they go about life is essentially responding to what comes into their realm. So if like you got a what is it? A TV show opportunity and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I want to do that. And then you just go do it. So some
Uh-huh.
things come into your lap and then you respond going from there. That's like the
Right.
general consensus of it. Yeah.
Okay. And then what's a manifestor generator? They
Um,
just have to try everything?
they they are quick. They have like a lot of different passions and it could lead
Oh,
them to not being super focused on one thing. But yeah, they along with the generator piece, they follow towards the things that light them up. Um,
okay. And then there's just the manifestor, and then there's just the generator, right? I
yes,
don't
and then
know. I don't
there's a
know.
projector and a reflector, but we're getting off topic.
Yeah, we're getting off topic. I don't know human design, but
But I'd love to answer your question without all of that. I would say I would love to sit down with, let's say it's a partner, and have an honest conversation about, hey, this is what I desire. Let's go over like
yes.
how will it impact the family and this relationship, and how can we navigate this as a team?
Oh, that's great. Yes, definitely. Yeah, I think when you're talking about desires, definitely there should be some communication. Like, um, for the most part, this is why I say I never give relationship advice. I mean, like, I'm not like me. I can help people set goals, and I can help you heal your chakras, balance your chakras, and talk about your chakras and all that stuff. But relationship advice, you don't want relationship advice from me. You do not want relationship advice from me. I'm not the one to be giving relationship advice. I might have you broken up in like a week.
Yeah.
You might get arrested. You probably should not listen to me. Okay, so I'm gonna send them all your way.
Sounds good.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. So, yeah, definitely talk to your person about your desires.
Mhm.
Don't
Yeah.
be crazy. Yes. So what do you see most people when they're getting ready to step in their desires? How do they put themselves in the right mindset to do so?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Girl,
Um,
I got good questions.
yeah, you got real good questions. Do you do this for a living?
Kind of.
I think it boils down to getting quiet with yourself. And something I like to tell my clients is the most important opinion of you and your life is your own, and that is it. And so really trusting that that is the case. And after that, I just got a blank. um, After that, what I have experienced and what a lot of people I've heard experience is the fear thoughts
Yes,
just
that's what I was thinking, the
amplified, right?
fear.
Like the
Mhm.
fear of like, I can't do this. What if this happens? What if that happens? And that's when they get the loudest is when you're like, okay, I think I'm going to act on this true desire. And
Mm.
um, and I
Yeah.
always tell people that it takes courage, and courage doesn't mean like the fears have gone away. It's deciding,
Mm-mm.
okay, I'm scared shitless, but I'm going to do this because this is really what I want. So
Oh, I love that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And something I took away from that How to Be a Badass book by Jen Sincero, one thing she said in there was there's a difference between wanting and deciding. Like I can want
Mm.
to live my best life by sitting on the couch. I could dream up everything, but deciding to do
Mhm.
it takes actual action.
Yes, I love that because I feel like a lot of us second guess our decisions. I know I do. I feel like many people do. Like I want my so when I got asked to be on the show and he sent me the thing, I'll be completely honest. I thought it was like a spam. I ignored it. Like the first
Uh-huh.
one, I was like, I don't know what this dude's talking about. Right? Like what the hell? Ignored it, right?
Yeah.
Sent another one. I said, "Oh, let me look at kind of looked at it, I said, oh, looks legit." Okay, so I responded. So then I responded and he's like, "Okay, send me this email with all your things." And I'm thinking, "Okay." And I was meaning on doing it, but I got distracted with work. Da 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 da. He sent me another one. I mean, I'll be honest, by now I would have been like, screw this girl, right? But he sent me another one was like, "Okay, we're on the show." Da, 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 da. So then I said, "Oh, okay, yes, let me message him back with all the things." But still, it was like that imposter syndrome or that actual decision of second like, is this real? Is this sure? Am I sure about this? And I said yes. And then I'm thinking, this still isn't real. Do you know what I mean? Like, this still isn't
Yeah.
really happening. And then basically, I mean, was like, okay, he is on TV, but is he gonna fake? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I
and then
hear you.
we said, girl, let me tell you, I was like, is this really, am I real? And then when I saw the camera dude, I was like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. I'm really gonna be on TV. These fools are tripping. They
Oh
ain't serious. Right?
my
Do not second guess your desires, people.
No. And it's so funny you mentioned that. I kind of had that today. I was like having that imposter syndrome of, oh gosh, like, do I know how to step into my truth? How do I teach? I'm like, this is what I do. And then at the
This
same
is what
time, I
you
still have
do.
those fears. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. This is what you do. And when you're stepping into your desire, you have to own it and really say, this is what I do. This is who I am. This
Yeah.
is my desire. So, how do you give me 3 tips on how do you help people step into their desire?
Okay. So I've got 4 questions to ask.
Ooh, for me?
I don't know, just steps.
I was
Four
gonna
questions.
say, okay,
Well, if you
let's
want a pen
hear.
and paper, you can.
Ooh, okay, let's go.
Um, First thing to ask yourself is, what do I want out of this situation, this relationship, this job? What is it? What does that look like? Okay.
Mm,
So if I
mhm.
say, what do I want? Like Okay, I want a healthy relationship with myself. Okay, what does that look like? It looks like setting aside time for me literally to be my own parent and let me feel my emotions. Or I'm gonna listen to my body, and right now it says I want to put on some badass music and dance. Like, listen to yourself. Next one is, why do I want it? Why do I want a healthy relationship to myself? This is just an example. Um,
Mhm.
and it's because I want to live a life that I'm proud of and that I'm happy and content to be living this life that brings me true joy. Okay, fourth
Mhm.
question, what are the steps to get there? And it can be something small. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I got to think of like 20 things to do. Just think of like
Right.
one or
Right.
two steps.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So those are the four questions. What do I want? What does that look like? Why do I want it? And what are the steps to get there?
Oh, that's amazing. That's great. Yeah, definitely have to ask yourself, what is it that you want, desire?
Mhm.
How can people find you?
Yeah, so I have a website. It's called beccaforrest.com with two C's and two R's. I have an Instagram. It's called at Becca Forrest Coaching. And then I have a clubhouse. It's called Wake Up to Your Wisdom. I am on there every Wednesday at 11 Pacific Standard Time. And we just chat all about getting awareness and being real and authentic. And it's a space for everyone to connect and share together.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. I just want to thank you so much for being on the show
Thank
and
you.
definitely sharing all your wisdom about stepping into your desires and giving people tips. And once again, I just want to thank the audience and listeners for listening to Chakras and Cusswords. Please follow, like, subscribe, and definitely give us a. It helps us move up the podcasting hierarchy,
Love it.
right? Everybody have a great day. And thank you, Becca. As always, I will put all her information in the show notes so you can reach her, find her, and discover how to step into your desires. Thank you. Bye.
Awesome. Bye. Thank you, Catherine.
Bye. Thank you.